The Africa Economic Conference is currently underway in Gaborone in Botswana. The three-day event is in collaboration between the bank, the UN Economic Commission for Africa, as well as the UN Development Programme. And SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is there and joins us on day two. Kaya, so the conference wraps up tomorrow. What will solutions, plans, agreements undertaken here be actually communicated and implemented?
Well, precisely, quite a very important moment here for the development practitioners, so many experts and also the government officials as well. It's all about making sure that Africa is able to overcome these challenges, navigating in a very unpredictable global space, but also in terms of really making sure that they are homegrown solutions. But Alicia, we do have Dr. Eric Ogunleya, the director for the African Development Institute at the African Development Bank. So once again, Doctor, thank you so much indeed for your time. So a very critical platform in terms of getting the solutions, in terms of looking at the economic volatility, looking at all these myriad of challenges. So far, just your impression about this particular gathering.
Thank you very much for having me. The African Economic Conference is a platform for a global convening and a platform for addressing the most pressing challenges that are facing the continent. And this is not just only on looking at the challenges, but more importantly, to talk about exploring policy options. What are the insightful, impactful, and practical policies that could be implemented that will help the continent to overcome these challenges? So it's a global forum, it's a policy dialogue forum, it's a networking forum. It's also a forum for policymakers to come together, different stakeholders and actors. And in the past 2 days, we have seen that convening. We have heard from different voices, the youth, the credit rating agencies, the policymakers, ministers, and so on. So it's really very interesting to hear these different perspectives and to put them all together into how we can chart a future for Africa to navigate most of the global uncertainties that we see today that are facing the continent. So in the past 2 days, there have been lots of policy recommendations that are very insightful and that also promises to move the continent forward. So we look forward to implementing most of them. We look forward to engaging with different partners who are interested in Africa, who are friends of Africa, to ensure that we move the continent forward.
And Doctor, obviously all of this happens right in Botswana. We've seen the political transition, we've seen the President Boko coming here, but also making a clarion call for the delegates to make sure that the resolutions, the outcomes coming out here really have an impact. I suppose that that's a very key question, to really make that fundamental impact on the ground for the Africans.
No, absolutely. Solutions is what we want, and solutions is what we will get. Like I said, putting together different voices, people with different perspectives have been really fundamental to the discussion. Now, if you take a look at it, you see that you talked about governance, but there are several other emerging challenges that are facing the continent. Climate change, for example, is one of them. We have also seen a lot of squeeze in the global financial system. We've also seen a lot of lopsidedness, bias against African countries on global financial architecture and systems. So what we're talking about here is to say, what can African countries do in terms of looking inward? Because, like I said, one of the things we want to achieve in this conference is to ensure that we provide homegrown solutions that can help the continent to move forward. And with the global convening we have, with the lots of people we have here with different ideas, it's interesting listening to the youth who are the future, who are already in the driver's seat, not really the future, but they're already in the current, who are actually supporting and also making a lot of input, interesting submissions that will help the continent to achieve and navigate most of these challenges that we see. It's also important to note that the challenges we're talking about here is not peculiar to African countries or the continent alone. It is global. So at the global level, at the continental level, at the national level, and even subnational levels, we are looking at holistic solutions that can help the continent to move forward. And it's been interesting, like I said, in the past 2 days to see that we are on course to achieve this objective.
And just before I let you go, Doctor, obviously the African Development Bank is doing quite a lot in terms of supporting the member states, in terms of development, issues around energy. For example, we know that a staggering 600 million Africans, they still lack energy. Maybe just share with us in terms of the support for the countries from the point of view of the bank.
No, the bank is our bank. That is the way the African countries see us, because we understand the context, we understand the challenges on the continent, and we're living with the people. So living with the people means you face the same challenges that the continent faces. Now, talking about the energy sector, as you rightly mentioned, of course, we still have over 60 million or so Africans who do not have access to energy. So what the bank is doing is to craft homegrown solutions that can help the continent to move forward. We have lots of interventions, especially that are focusing on harnessing the large potential of solar in the Sahel region that can help the continent to deal with its energy deficits, as we see today. We also have a lot of other support that we're given to even youth, to women, to ensure that they are able to harness whatever potential we have. I think the important thing here is to look inward, and that is what the bank is helping the continent to do. We have a lot of wealth. Like I mentioned earlier, we have hydro, we have solar. So the bank is concentrating and focusing on helping the countries to use what they have to be able to deliver on this. And like I said, using the solar, the abundant solar energy, solar power, and solar potential we have on the continent is one key areas that the bank is helping to get this done.
Oh, lovely. Doctor, thank you so much indeed. Of course, that's Dr. Eric. They're really just sharing with us, Khayelihle, just in terms of the expectations as well, what's been happening here. Very, very productive and very invigorating discussions, as it's all about making sure that Africa is able to overcome these challenges so that we can see the impact on the ground. So with that, back to you in Johannesburg.
Absolutely, Kaya. The African Solutions for African Problems, our reporter Khayelihle Khumalo in Gaborone in Botswana.